Hey everybody, just checking in, and I'm doing this on Zoom, so it's actually gonna be a little bit more um like grainy, I think, or delayed, or I'm not really sure, but I apologize. It's just what I've got for the moment. So I'm checking in, and yesterday I had an amazing window. It was my first like clear window that I've had in a really long time. It made me feel a lot of hope, and I don't have that much of a clear window today, but that's okay. That's okay. I'm just grateful. So, what I've been up to, I've been reading this book, The Divided Mind by Dr. Sarno, The Epidemic of Mind Body Disorders. And you might know of him because he's the doctor who wrote a book about back pain and had this idea that pain is actually stuck emotions in our body, and that lots of people have been treated and cured of pain and other disorders through really feeling their emotions. And he's really emphasizes anger and rage. So I shared in my last video that my underlying condition was trauma, and I'm doing a trauma training with Bessel van der Kolk, who wrote Your Body Keeps the Score. And I'm actually a somatic educator myself. So I really teach my clients how to get out of their minds and into their bodies. And I do mindfulness exercises along with a lot of other things. In my particular field. And so it kind of makes sense to me that, right along the time that I was taking the Ativan as needed, and had been on Wellbutrin for like about a year. Well, like right before I got on Wellbutrin, my mother disowned me. And she was just not a great mom, like my whole childhood. We had our moments where she actually made these earrings. She had moments of being really awesome and really showed me lots of love and lots of care. This is in my older life, not as a child. And we got really, really close, and kind of I put all of my past behind me. And then my mom got really sick, and she also was on medication. So I often wonder if the meds that she was on just, made her a little cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs, and she disowned me. So she kind of reverted back to how she was when I was a child. And so this kind of like odd parenting, and I've had other like strange things in my upbringing. I've shared a little bit before. I was raised communally, things like this. So my underlying condition is like, yeah, I have a lot of trauma. I have a lot of stuff in my body, and I took the medication. So when she disowned me, I started the Wellbutrin. I mean, clearly I was like, I didn't need something. I wanted something for the massive grief. And I'd already been taking Ativan as needed, like sprinkled here and there, not knowing that I was going up and down. And I didn't know. They say as needed. How do you know when to take it? Or I didn't know. I was emailing my psychiatrist, and he'd be like, just take an Ativan, just no idea. So I started taking a little bit more after she disowned me. So a little bit more might mean like I took one in, the middle of the day when I was having like a super massive grief attack. Or I would take, like 2 a week versus 1 a week. I mean, wasn't taking them every day. So now that I've been 3 years off and 16 months post setback, which, was truly a major, massive, like almost like a cold turkey, like what it did to my body, as if I had never done a taper. I'm now like, during acute, like in this last wave, when I did hit, there was an acute phase where it was insane. It felt like I had just cut, like in the beginning when I was cutting the Klonopin that they had put me on because of the failed Ativan cold turkey. I would do these big cuts. I was cutting like 0.25 every week or something. And I felt like in this last wave, in the last several weeks, like some of the acute symptoms were like I was cutting massive pieces of a benzo, which is crazy town. I don't know how that happened, if it was like the vitamin D that I took that I had a negative reaction to, if it was just a compounding of tons of stress, like my son leaving for college. But there's something underneath all of this benzo withdrawal that I need to deal with. Like my nervous system is sensitized. It's sensitized through childhood trauma, through kindling, which is like going up and down on a benzo, not knowing. Oftentimes, we don't know what we're doing. And so to me, this like, kind of coming back to this like divided mind is my brain is sending my body messages to be in a state of chronic fear all the time. And I do believe that I'm somaticizing my trauma. So on the one hand, yes, benzo withdrawal is real. Protracted benzo withdrawal is real. We don't know how long it's going to take for GABA receptors to upregulate. There's no real pathway through that mess. It's crazy. And there, I do believe, is a phenomenon that happens that Professor Ashton even wrote about, where the brain is so sensitized to what's happened because of benzo withdrawal that we can easily shift back into a stress response. And, to be honest, like I am a researcher, so I use myself as a little guinea pig. I don't know if by doing some of the work that he's suggesting, some of the things I'll explain in a minute, if that's going to help. I don't know. I mean, I could be totally wrong. These are all theories. Any doctor or any therapist or any patient who says they know what's going on, I think it's BS. Like, we don't really know what's happening in the body. Body is a very complex organism. We try with the limited capacity that we have to try to figure it out. But honestly, things are changing all the time. We're made up of chemicals and hormones and this and that that's constantly in flux. And it never quite looks like our bodies are trying to achieve homeostasis, but it's a battle, for a lot of us. So I don't know if TMS, which is the work of Dr. Sarno, or PPD, which is another way of calling it, physio or psychophysiologic disorders, are underpinning, protracted withdrawal. I don't know. Some people think you need to take more B vitamins. I don't. But what I am doing is I am trying to do some of the techniques that suggested, just to see if it can take the edge off. And I need the edge taken off because it is very stressful to be ill all the time and to be worse at 3 years off than I was at 6 months off. So what I've been doing is something called journal speak, which is the work of Nicole Sachs, Sachs. I've been writing, so like setting my timer for 20 minutes, writing like raw, dirty, messy, grody emotions about a topic. And then I'll do some EFT tapping, EFT, that good stuff. It's really good. Relaxes my nervous system, and then meditation. And then I'm doing DNRS as well, like doing some rounds. And I feel like what I've seen so far, I mean, yesterday I had my best window in a long time. I've seen that when I ask myself, so if I'm having a lot of symptoms and I ask myself, okay, what am I feeling right now? So if it's true that emotions can create physical symptoms, I need to figure out what's going on with me emotionally. So I stop and I just like, I go, okay, I'm having all this neuropathy. I can feel it in my feet. I can feel it all freaking over my body. Headaches, all kinds of things. And I'll just stop and go, okay, what am I feeling right now? The answer over and over again has been fear. I'm feeling fear. Like I realize like I don't have like an anxiety disorder in terms of the way that I've seen it kind of played out, public speaking stuff or social anxiety or, anxious about spiders or, I don't have that. I say that because my partner is anxious about spiders. But I am in a lot of fear. And if I stop and just ask myself, what do I feel right now? It is fear. I'm scared of so many things. My body feels so vulnerable and so open and so not protected that I am living in a state of fear. And so I'll go, okay, I'm feeling fear. What else is there? And then it's just sadness, grief, like scared little girl. And I'll just start bawling and crying and letting it go. And honestly, it has moved something in me. It's changed something in me. I've noticed a diminished amount of pain as a result. Now, again, I am changing every day. It could be because this is a couple of days before my period where I get my best windows anyway. It could be I'm using an oral device now. I'm getting a little bit better sleep, not great sleep, but a little bit better sleep. I don't know what's going on. It could be windows and waves. But I'm a guinea pig. I'm going to try it. I'm going to keep going. And I wanted to just share that with people who are in protracted, it's a stressful state to be in for so many years. And I wonder if my question for myself is, does my past trauma, already being sensitive, being put on medication because of trauma, having gone through benzo withdrawal, which is horribly traumatic, all the things that happen because of it that are traumatic, has that created a sensitized central nervous system that now reacts to stress? I don't react to my environment very much. Like I don't react to, I used to in the beginning of benzo withdrawal, I don't react to like chemicals, smells. I don't react to my home. I used to react to my home. I don't anymore. I'm not reactive to food as much unless it like disturbs my gut. I stay away from gut disturbing foods. But it's stress and my hormones. So anything that's like moves my body out of homeostasis, which hormones does and stress does, like high levels of cortisol, my whole body just goes and I shift into some crazy wave. So am I somaticizing stress, emotions in a way that I could diminish and possibly reduce by doing some of this work, which is really all it is calming the amygdala, calming down the stress response as much as possible. And we become so good at coping, through withdrawal, like our coping skills get to be crazy. And sometimes we need to find new coping skills. And this for me is something that I'm exploring. So I've done journal speak now for several days. I have found it to be beneficial. I'm out of the acute part of this last wave, which was really gnarly, really Groundhog Day, really disgusting, grody. And I have a lot to write. That was the first thing I wrote about. And I was just, you got to write down some nasty, gritty, dirty emotions, the ones that you don't want to tell anybody. Rage, massive grief. And don't be afraid to just write that shit down and get that shit out of your body. So that's my check-in, and I look forward to letting you all know how it goes. Leave your comments in the comment section and check you all later. Peace.